Welcome back, weird people, to another epic episode of Mac Music Review. Today I'm going to be talking about a 21 Pilots album. That album is, of course, Blurryface. I don't know if you guys have heard this one. It's only like the most popular 21 Pilots album by miles and miles. Blurryface was a smash hit that catapulted 21 Pilots into massive stardom. They became a huge band with this release off of the hits like Ride and, of course, Stressed Out. It was really the release of this album was the moment when I became like a big 21 Pilots fan, and this album was really kind of essential to my music love. One of the first albums I really became really obsessed with. I know all of these songs by heart, all of the words. I saw them on the Blurryface tour, and it's still to this day one of the best shows I've ever been to. It was an incredible concert, massive, the energy was crazy. So I'm coming into this review with a little bit of bias. The big question I want to ask now, though, since it's been like almost 10 years since the release of this album, is this album any good? To be completely honest, this album has a lot of really great songs on it, but it is very noticeable, especially coming off of Vessel, the kind of huge stylistic shift that we got from them. We got an album that has a little bit of rapping, but basically went away with all of that fun electronic music that we saw on Vessel or on Regional at best. They really were going in a new direction, and that was a direction of making songs that feel more like pop songs, both in terms of their structure and in terms of their appeal. And as I already stated, that absolutely worked for them. This album was absolutely massive. Talking about the two hit songs on this album, Stressed Out, I think, is a really good song. Like, even today, it's got a little bit of rap into it. It's got definitely a lot of 21 Pilots charm that you'd be familiar with, but it's basically them just talking about nostalgia and how they're older now and life is more complicated. It's something that anybody can relate to. Ride, lyrically, is a little bit more ambiguous. I don't exactly know what this song is about, but it is a really great song. I really love everything about this song, the instrumentation. I think it's just a certified, like, great bop. Like, it's fun to listen to. It's got an explosive hook. It's just a great song. That's all I really have to say about it. One thing that I think both of these songs are indicative of that makes the album weaker as a whole, though, is a lot less urgency in the lyrics. Most of these songs are barely even about anything. And that's something that you can't really say about any other 21 Pilots release. They are such an urgent band. I think that's why they have such a huge fan base, which is why I think this album was kind of off-putting to a lot of fans, and of course made them millions of fans. But for people who are already fans of the band or people who are fans of their other work, this album just doesn't really have a great sense of urgency. Some of the songs have lyrics that are just kind of up for interpretation, like The Judge, or songs like Hometown, or Message Man, and then a lot of songs kind of have vaguely like religious and Christian themes and ideas. Songs like Doubt, songs like Heavy Dirty Soul, songs like Goner, and I do like that when there is a more clear message. And I would say the same thing about the Judge. It probably has a lot of Christian kind of ideas behind it, and there's a lot of lyrical imagery and references to God and hell and other things. But I think for the most part, this album lyrically just doesn't give us a lot to really grasp onto. Maybe for people who like to dig deep, you can find some meanings to a lot of these songs, but mostly lyrically, it's not nearly as direct as Vessel was in the way it tackled its themes. As for like very clear and obvious weaknesses, very obvious shortcomings, there's only a few songs that really kind of don't work super well. Fairly Local is very loud and honestly kind of annoying, a little bit cringe in its delivery. It's not really saying anything. Lane Boy is, I believe, a fan favorite, but the more you listen to it, it gets a little bit grating. Some pretty revealing lyrics on this song about them talking about themselves artistically and creatively and how they're kind of selling out and how a lot of the songs on the record feel common. It's kind of interesting. Doubt is the worst song on the album, one of the worst songs they've ever made. Just really repetitive, kind of annoying, just not much going for it. Definitely falls into the pop music trap and doesn't come out on the other side in a way that's very fun or likable. I think Hometown is all right. It's not that great. Message Man is also another track like Hometown where it seems like it's fine while it's on, but it doesn't really have a lot to offer. Some songs on this album really do have something to offer. Like I said, I really do like the hits from this album, but Tear in My Heart is just kind of a beautiful song. This is not the best version of this song. I believe they did a remix with Mute Math that is much better. If you've never heard the Mute Math remix of this, you need to check it out. It's incredible. But this is still a really great song, really fun, really fun bridge. It just has a lot of charm to it. It's a fun song. We Don't Believe What's on TV is another really fun song also, where they kind of go in this more like ukulele kind of cutesy direction that I think works really well. Same for Not Today. It's just a bop. It's just a fun upbeat song. I can't fault this song in any way, shape, or form. It's just a good song. I think Polarize has a really infectious hook. Like a really great hook, and the rest of the song is just so meh. Like there's very little in this song that I find appealing outside of this hook. But then the album caps off with Goner, which I think is one of the best songs they've ever made. Scratch that, the best song they've ever made. I love this song. I'll link my top 10 21 Pilots songs in the description of this video, but I really do love this one. I think it's a very emotional song. I think it's a very powerful song, especially with that build-up, with that explosion of sound. They have very few songs that go as hard as Goner. They also have very few songs that are as quiet as Goner in the build-up to that amazing hook, into that, or not hook, but that amazing climax, that amazing explosion of sound. But as a general rule, the songs are pretty good. I think most of the songs on this album work pretty well. I think it's just a really enjoyable album as a whole, even though it does have moments which I think are a little bit weaker, like Hometown or Message Man. I don't think these songs are overtly bad. The only songs I would say that are really straight up misses are Fairly Local and Doubt. But I think there even is some enjoyment to be had from Fairly Local or Lane Boy. It's just an album that lacks urgency. It lacks the drive. It lacks the passion, I would say. And it really does kind of feel like a band trying to sell out almost, like trying to have this pop appeal. And as far as pop albums go, it's pretty good. I mean, yeah, I like this one. I think it's a good album. I listened to it so much in preparation for this video, and I enjoyed so much of it. So I am going to give it a 3.5 star rating out of 5. And that's basically it. I'm wondering, how do you feel about this album? Where does this rank for you? If you're a 21 Pilots fan watching this, I assume it's low tier, as it is for me. But you know what? It's got so much wide appeal. It's such a nostalgic album for me. I'm absolutely reviewing this with nostalgia glasses. A lot of people would be nearly as kind as I was in this review, but genuinely, even the moments on this album, even the songs I like less, I still get enjoyment out of. Like, I like this album a lot, even though I think it's doesn't have the strongest 21 Pilots songs outside of just a few. It's got some good ones, and it's just an enjoyable record from start to finish for me. From Heavy Dirty Soul to Goner, I'm just enjoying this one. So let me know what you think. Share your thoughts in the description, in the comments, and have a great rest of your day.